Good morning, evening or afternoon, wherever you are, and welcome back to Sports for Dummies Series 5, Episode 1. And man, it feels like a long old time since we've been rocking and rolling with this. For those new to the show, my name is Lewis Pears and I'm joined by Hope. Say hello, Hope.
Hello, Hope.
Way, oh, that's funny. And on Sports for Dummies, we discuss the biggest and latest sporting news from the major headlines to the smallest niche sports you could think of. And today, we've got 3 fun random stories, Hope, that we're going to talk about. Before we get into all that good stuff for those listening, if you are watching on YouTube, hello, if you can see us. If you're watching on if you're listening on an audio platform, then hello. Thank you for listening. And we appreciate all the support as well. We've got some great things coming up this series, but to start with, Hope, how's it going?
Firstly, can I rip into you by the fact that when you were saying hello to the audio listeners, you still waved?
It called me, I've got to do the action as well. It's not the same, is it?
They
can't miss out.
You made a point about the fact they can't see you, yet you still moved.
Oh, whatever. Look,
whatever, Trevor. I've missed you. I've missed you
too. It's been a long. It feels like a long time. Hope, in the last month, tell us what has happened to you. How's life changed?
Do you know what? I'm not complaining. Work is coming in thick and fast, Lewis.
Really?
It's a lot. Yeah. And
it's all happening.
It's all happening, and I feel good about it. I feel very good about it. It would be nice to have a bit more balance, but, you know, self-employed life, I've got to snap up the opportunities when they arise. I've been working with Gala Bingo. I met all the people who are from the Chase.
Yeah, go on, give us a number. Come on.
6 and 9, 69.
That's the worst one. Of all of the ones you could have picked that have good rhymes, it's 7 and 2, 72. I mean, like,
you obviously know why I chose 69, don't you? Obviously, so
because you're not.
Let's make a little joke. I'm making a crude joke there. All right, here's one. Kelly's Eye, number 1. Top of the shop, number 90. 3 and 0, blind 30.
What's number 1?
Kelly's Eye.
What's Kelly's Eye?
Don't know. Doctor's favourite, number 9. Unlucky for some, 13.
Yeah.
2 little ducks, 22. Quack, quack. I done that right near London Bridge.
I saw, very cool. And you had the man from the Chase, didn't you? What is his name? Is it the Beast? What's
Mark.
his name?
I don't know his Chase name because I don't watch it, but Anne was there, Mark and Sean.
Yeah. Okay, so you had the whole trio. I tell you what.
Yeah, and tell you what, Mark, bloody lovely.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, really nice guy.
We could do them on the podcast from a historical point of view because they know their brains are massive, all of them.
Yeah, I mean, people were testing Mark's knowledge. I couldn't even think of a question to ask him. I should have asked him something really niche about something that he wouldn't know.
See, and then you could have like spun him.
Like about boxing. Or, Lewis, my newfound knowledge, F1. Because today I went to an audition for an F1 job. So I learned a lot of stuff about F1.
Go on, Hope, give us a fact.
So I will say, Lewis recommended that I went along the kind of female side.
I did.
I didn't in the end. You know why?
Go on.
I'd already started writing the script. And then I tried to insert the female stuff and it just wouldn't flow. And I thought, I can't start again. Because I had to do, for those listening, a 3-minute speech about F1. I know nothing about F1. So I had to learn all. But I wrote the speech. All was very happy with it. Went there today. I stood up and I got one of those little, what's it called? The stand where you put your speech on it.
Probably a stand, to be fair. I don't.
Yeah, I dragged one of them over. A podium. I dragged the podium over, didn't I?
Yeah, podium. Yeah, podium.
These two blokes in the room, and I went, "Oh, it's a podium now. I'm just going to bring that over." So I pulled it over, had my speech printed off because I thought, "Oh no, I've got to learn it all off by heart." Then I thought, well, if Barack Obama can use a bit of paper, so can I. Quite frankly, and I'm using Barack Obama because he's the last person in politics I rated. So I done my speech earlier. Here's a fact for you. The origins of the F1 started in France in the Edwardian era. They were called road races at the time. And to make the tracks back then, they used to put loads of tar and then they used to put wood or sand on top of the tar to make the tracks. And another fact, it was in the 1950s, I think, that the engine moved from the front of the car to the back of the car. And
Hope, I'm only going to stop you there only because, right, the way that you've reeled this off reminds me, for anyone listening that knows The Office UK very well, there's a scene where David Brent is having an argument with somebody else and they're trying to flounce their knowledge. And it's about what's the composer called? Is it is it not Tchaikovsky? I can't remember who it is anyway. There's some composer, and they go up to each other every so often and they say, by the way, did you know that in 1834, and they'll comment, and then the other one will know exactly what they're talking about.
So my David Brent.
Yeah, you'd have been David
Brent.
Yeah, the way that you delivered that was David Brent. It was brilliant.
And if you wanted dancing, you should have come to me, didn't you? If you want, I know you'd rehearse that as a plan.
What, did you dance?
Big time. More modern stuff than that as well. Yeah, I sort of fused flash dance with MC Hammer shit.
All right then, mate. Well, let's show us your moves.
Nah, there's no beat, is there?
Go on.
You have music and everything. Well, let's well, as it's for charity, just a little bit.
I'm David Brent. Well, that's all the facts you're getting then. I was going to keep going, but no.
You can keep going. I want more. I want all the facts because David Brent knows everything. That was exciting.
What else? Taking me off my flow there. I was going through my script.
Yeah. My nailed down.
Lewis Hamilton was the youngest person ever to win the World Championship at the age of 23. And Michael Schumacher retired and then came back. And then he worked for Mercedes. And I also found out, by the way, last fact. In the F1, I didn't know this. There's 2 championships, isn't there? There's the Constructors' Championship and the other championship for the drivers. So within the one race, there are two champions. There are two awards.
You really lost me. I wasn't following the.
Now he's a sports dummy, not me.
See, I'm impressed. You don't need me
anymore. That's what I'm saying.
I've seen. I'm going to be clicking on my. I'll be clicking on my laptop, and it'll be you and Big Mark at the other side of the screen, and it'll be.
Who's Big Mark?
The bloke from The Chase.
Oh yeah.
Confused me
then. I was like, what about?
Yeah, you confuse me. How many facts? I mean, now my brain's.
Anyway, enough about me.
There you go.
What have you been doing?
Went back to uni. Hope it's been very busy, actually. We're currently moving house. It's all quite complicated, but, well, very briefly, we're going into rented while this house gets renovated. But anyway, it's been a good month. Back to university, busy as always, cracking on with work. The fun news and exciting news for those listening, and apologies to any Hammers fans, because they'll probably be quite sad about this. Well, not sad, either way.
Miffed.
Sad because they wish, miffed because they wish it was them. I, Hope, have won myself a signed and match-worn Ben Johnson shirt, who is the main right-back for West Ham United. Now, quick shout-out to my friends at Bridge the Gap Football, which is a Christian charity, which basically bridges the gap between church and football. You can check that on Instagram or YouTube, anywhere like that. Anyway, they did a giveaway for a Ben Johnson shirt, and there were like 350 entries or something or another. And the fun story goes that the person, and again, I enter the competition, not expecting to win, as you do for most competitions, you kind of enter and just get on with it. And I got a DM from their founder and sort of CEO, who's called Tristan, and he sent me a message. And basically, to cut a long story short,
Tristan the Christian.
Way well done, yeah. Tristan had said the person that won it was a bot. It was a bot account, and he doesn't. Again, I don't know how they enter, but apparently my name was the next one along, and so he then selected me, and so I won the shirt. So there you go. So I have sadly not in this house that I can't show, but you can insert a photo in here. Of me with the shirt. If not, check it out on my Instagram. I'm going to post it very soon. So yeah, I managed to win a signed Ben Johnson shirt. So there you go.
That's good, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's been the highlight of my month. Obviously, it was my 21st as well. That was exciting.
Yes. Lewis turned an adult.
I did. I officially turned an adult. That was big. So no, it's been a good month. Hope been very fun. Been busy. But yeah, from a sporting point of view, my Ben Johnson signed shirt is the absolute winner. But it's been class. It's been a good month or so. And like now, it feels weird because it's like the push home to Christmas now, which is like mad to think about because it's already late October.
I'm a Celebrity's going to start soon.
Oh no!
Oh,
what? I'm a
They're back in Australia now.
Who cares? You could.
Oh, it's a good show.
Oh no, Hope that it should be longer. That and Love Island. I mean, every time you turn on the telly, and it's like, oh, and David's got to eat a bumblebee, and let's see and find out.
Ooh, Bumblebee's quite tame. I'd do that.
Rita, you'd eat a bumblebee?
Better than a bollock, isn't it?
Probably
I imagine I haven't eaten either of them, to be fair.
But look, what I mean, Hope, is every time you turn on the telly, or and not to be mean, and I don't like being critical of people, because again, everyone's got their own talents, but it's kind of like,
but
they get on these people, and it's like, they've had some big names. Ian Wright was on there, Lady C. Those were great people, and then you get people on there, and it's like, they once juggled 3 balls for 5 minutes at the Camden Fair, and now they're on the show, and it's like, that's not impressive.
Would you watch it if I went on?
Oh, I think if I had a friend on there, like on Love Island, if one of my mates went on Love Island, I'd watch it purely for them. I couldn't care about that. It couldn't care less about. Yes, if you went on Strictly, blimey. If you went on, I would watch it on Strictly as well.
I want to go on Strictly. My foot's got stuck in my chair. Bear with.
That's not very dancery, is it?
Sorry, also, I did apply for a reality show when we didn't speak for a bit.
Did you? What reality show was that?
Guess.
I was going to say Naked Attraction.
I knew you were going to guess Naked Attraction. I mean, I have posed naked for an art show before to 15 people.
You did say that.
Yeah.
The thing is, I'm not very good at reality. You have to give me a clue, because I don't.
I'll just tell you.
Know.
I applied for Married at First Sight.
You're joking.
No, I'm not.
Really?
Yeah, because I figure, well, bloody hell, I know what I want, right? Quite frankly. So I'll let the experts sort it out.
But you Married at First Sight. You know what you want, but you won't see them.
It's not a real marriage, I don't reckon.
Oh yeah, it's just a fake. It's just a fake marriage. It's just a fake marriage. It's not the real.
Yeah,
marriage.
It won't be like a legal. It will just be like a little ceremony thing. Plus, you go on a honeymoon. Hello, and I might meet the love of my life.
Did you get on it though? That's the question.
Well, no, I wouldn't be able to tell you. I haven't heard anything yet. I hope they do choose me. Quite frankly, I think they'll be surprised at my age, maybe. That I'm 25 and I've already given up.
That's quite, yeah. Well, I mean, the point is...
Do you know what? I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
25.
It's that meme of Piers Morgan. Sorry, can't do this. And he storms out. We need to crop your face on that and go, sorry, can't do this. And then there you go.
Unfortunately, my Photoshop skills aren't that adequate. But anyone who can, feel free to send us that.
Exactly. Well, Hope, we're going to talk about a man who's quite similar to Piers Morgan, who's been very, very angry.
Oh, really?
But now, the tide is changing. So we're going to start, Hope, with a sport. This episode, we're going to open it up, as always, Sport to Dummies, guys. We talk about niche sports, things that are going on in the world of sport that you may have missed, stories that haven't necessarily been in the headlines, or things that may have slipped under the radar. So today, we're talking about a man, Hope, that I don't expect you'll know, and that's okay. He's called Hans Niemann.
Oh, I do know him.
You do?
Yeah.
Who is he?
Joking, I don't know who you are.
Of course you don't. Of course you don't.
You believed me for a brief second, though, didn't you?
No,
you were like,
no.
she does? Oh, my goodness.
No, because every time that I say a name, I get all excited, and you just sit there completely blank.
You could say Serena Williams, and I'd be like, who?
Yeah. Well, basically, Hope, for those, and also before you moan, right, we're gonna do a quick disclaimer, and we've had this argument before. For those wondering, please go and watch previous series. We're talking today about the world of chess. Now, I'm not a massive chess fan, and I don't necessarily know chess all that well. And people might go, it's not a sport, it is a sport. That argument's irrelevant because it's featuring on sport. Story number 2. Anyway, so to kind of give some context, and again, I will hold my hands up and say, as a disclaimer, I am not an absolute pro about chess. I don't know everything about the game, so I won't.
Can you play chess?
I can play checkers if you get in a no.
No, doesn't know because I can play. It's drafts. It's called drafts, not checkers.
Yeah, no. I know
what is
how.
Checkers? Are you American now?
Checkers.
I like playing checkers at the weekend with a slushie.
It's been a long day for Hope.
I've got an American family. Sorry, guys. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, she does actually, to be fair. So, the answer, apologies. So, basically, Hope, I know how chess works. I can understand the game, but when it gets all to the complex people, like when it's how the queen can move and the king, I don't really know. I know the rough rules of the game and how tactically people set up roughly, but again, I don't really know very well. Anyway, talking about a man called Hans Niemann. Now, the 19-year-old was accused of cheating last month. We're going to get to that in just a minute. But the big news, Hope, Hope you're not ready for this. This is even bigger. Not only was he accused of cheating, he's in the top 50 players in the world, or was. He is currently suing the world champion called Magnus Carlsen, who's a very famous player, the chess.com website, and then a streamer for $100 million in damages. Now, that's for, and again, this is something to note as a disclaimer as well, these are American laws, so it's slightly different to the UK. So if you're interested, go and read the American political side of things.
I love all these disclaimers, by the way. It sounds very professional that we're like disclaiming things.
Because this is the thing, I don't want people to get confused.
Disclaimer!
There are rules in here that...
Lewis is great.
Thanks.
Shouted that so loud, sorry.
I was to say, literally my ears are now. Thankfully, I hope people at home, ears aren't bleeding.
Disclaimer! Lewis's ears are bleeding. Sorry, carry on.
There's the answer. We'll have to mute that bit because that was annoying. Anyway, so the lawsuit...
My whole voice, the whole podcast, just mute it.
Just the entire introduction with you. Just absolutely mute. No sound.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the lawsuit hope involves slander, civil conspiracy, and libel.
Nice
and
bit of squirrel.
Lovely bit of squirrel, Becky. Cyril,
it's Jackie, not Becky.
That was the joke though, because you said it wrong. That was the whole point. Lovely bit of Becky.
Oh, sometimes your jokes are too clever for me. Carry on.
Oh, sorry.
Keep calm. Carry on. Carry on.
Civil conspiracy and libel, and then there was another American law which I didn't really understand. But anyway, so Hope, this all kind of stems from back in early September. Now we won't go on and on for those that may know and are listening. So Hans Niemann, this player, he was the lowest ranked player at a tournament. Not a bad player by any stretch of the imagination, still a top ranked player, but at this specific tournament, a bit like say, because it was the top 50 players. Imagine, I don't know, let's just say the FA Cup, and in the quarterfinals, we've got Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, and you have a team in there, maybe like a Nottingham Forest. So not necessarily one of the best teams in the world, but still a decent side.
Yeah, anyway, with a nice logo.
Exactly, a really nice logo and a decent ground as well. Very loud fans. So he's taking on Magnus Carlsen. Now, for those that don't know who Magnus Carlsen is regarded, I would say, pretty much by every chess player around the world, every chess fan, as the greatest chess player of all time. He is undefeated in 53 matches, and he's been world champion since 2013. So he is like le creme de la creme. He's the man that everyone watches. And a fun fact for those listening already in the episode, he actually is a pro fantasy football player because of his way that he works, like chess, because it's all tactical. So he's actually very good as well at fantasy football. So there you go.
Maybe he could end up being like a football manager in the future. Also, his name reminds me of that Magna Carta contract that was years in history.
1546? Yeah.
Oh, now he's David Brent, not me. Now it's you.
David, to be fair, saying that, I've actually seen the Magna Carta, Hope. I've actually seen it in the flesh live.
Ooh, have
genuinely.
you? Ooh, Magna Carta. Ooh, friends. Is that what you said to it?
3 and 5, 35. Let's just say this, that we've got Nottingham Forest against Man City. Now, all the experts had said Carlsen was going to win, all this stuff. Now, Niemann actually beats him. And it's important to say as well that there are two kind of versions of chess. You've got online chess and in-person chess. So this game was in person. So Niemann beats Carlsen, which is enormous. And all of a sudden, the day afterwards, it was either, I believe, and can't quote me, I can't remember exactly, it was either the night of the tournament or the day following. All of a sudden, Magnus withdrew from the tournament. So there were 6 rounds to go. He was due to play other people because it's a bit like a round robin. Disappeared. Literally.
I love round robin. Such a good game.
That's good to be fair. Round robin was good.
Really good.
Now, so Carlsen posts a meme on Instagram of Jose Mourinho, and he puts in the quote sign saying, "If I speak, I'm in big trouble," which is this meme that Jose Mourinho was managing Chelsea at the time, and they lost. And he goes, "If I speak, I am in big trouble. I am in big trouble. I do not want to be." And Magnus posts it. Now, all of a sudden, on September the 8th, which I believe was the day after, chess.com, which is one of the biggest chess website basically in the world, the biggest online platform, they remove Niemann from the site. He's gone. Like literally over the space of one night, completely gone from the site.
That is the Hans guy who was the...
Hans Niemann, yes. Yeah, it was
Niemann, and he was the underdog.
He was the underdog, right? So he's disappeared. We're going to hold it. I'm going to just shut the door because my dad's cooking. Let me one sec. Ooh. So we're back to it. Okay. So Niemann wins. And all of a sudden, he was basically accused of cheating. Now, he's admitted to cheating before, age 12. Well, age 12 and 16, right? So a couple of years ago, again, quite young, and it was online.
A cheater never changes its spots.
But I hope you can't. let's take this as we would in law from a neutral point of view, and then we can go into the in-depth whether
Order?
right. So yeah, order. Or as it's saying, Paul, here.
Hell, down, everybody.
Blimey.
I sound like Mr. T a little bit.
I put it at full.
Nuts. Ow, my throat.
Really. Yes. So Niemann basically said he's never cheated in person. So the 2 times he cheated online, Hope, you can use computer aids. A bit like anything, really. You can cheat on a computer. Got to remember, cheating in person is really hard. And
is it like a sim? Like, you know, sorry to interrupt again. I know
No.
I'm really taking it off course. I know that is my job, though, on this podcast. But do you
Go
mean
on.
like, you know, Sims, when you put a cheat code in to get loads of money and get a big house? Is it like that?
So what people can do, people are very clever. So what some people argue that you can do is you can set up multiple windows. So as an example, I can be playing chess against you right now on my laptop and you're on your computer. And in the background, because you don't have a 360 view, I could have a live monitor feed of all the plays because the thing about chess, like, because it's a game, it's a bit like playing, it can tell you all of the perfect moves to make in a sequence so you win. And so people have argued that that's happened. Now,
you're just cheating yourself, though, if you do that, aren't you?
Well, exactly. I mean, yeah. And that's the thing, Hope. You know, chess.com accused him of cheating over 100 times, which is quite brave, really. But anyway, so we'll get on to guilty or not guilty. So as I said, so he's suing Magnus Carlsen, chess, all these people that have been involved that have accused him. So outrightly have said this guy should not be involved in the world of chess. Now, you've got to see a bit from Hans' point of view. So he has basically now been tarnished as the biggest cheat in chess ever. So people don't want to play him. He also has tried to, from what I understand, he's tried to become a chess teacher at a couple of schools, tried to, help kids that want to get into chess. And he can't do it now because people regard him as a cheat, which is why he's taking legal action. Now, quite a few people in the world of chess and then the political side of things have said that obviously pulling off a $100 million lawsuit is practically impossible because it's such a big sum of money. But there's a chance. There is definitely a chance. So we'll have to wait and see. And I think from a guilty standpoint, and I'd love to hear your argument on this now and what you think. So this is what I see. So he rose to kind of within about 20 months or so. So that's just shy of 2 years. He went from in the top 800 players in the world to the top 50. So that's effectively over the course of a year and a half, call it. He absolutely skyrocketed in terms of popularity and chess ability. Now, there's no doubt he was a good chess player when he was young. People have always said that. But Hans's argument is that the reason why Magnus Carlsen has turned around and said, or has basically accused him of cheating, and then chess.com does and all these people, is because Carlsen couldn't deal with the defeat. And you've got to remember, it does
seem like a bit of a spoiled brat moment.
Well, this is the thing. And again, not saying anything wrong about Magnus Carlsen, but that's the thing. You've got to remember, he's the GOAT of chess. And so to tarnish his name, i.e. to beat someone like that, it'd be the equivalent of like, I don't know, you get let's say a Nottingham Forest footballer and they have a one-on-one against Cristiano Ronaldo in some capacity, and they absolutely do them, like, he absolutely destroys him. The Nottingham Forest player makes Ronaldo look silly. And then you've got to think, well, actually, you do wonder about that. So all in all, the International Chess Federation is opening an investigation. They're going to look into the arguments for and against him being guilty. So yeah, Hope, what are your thoughts?
My overarching feel is that maybe we should start suing people in the UK, because that would be alien to happen here, that someone would say something bad about you and be like, right, I'm going to court. We just don't do that. It's just like, oh, that's sad. I've got to deal with that now forever. So maybe we should start introducing it. That's all I've got to say.
I think some sports players do. If you want to read about legal stuff, if you look at companies like News of the World, who are quite an infamous newspaper, they're only a tabloid, and they often broke stories that shouldn't have been broken and stuff.
Colleen and Vardy.
Yeah, it does. This thing, Hope, it does happen, but often the truth is the scale at which people sue each other, I think, in the UK is much less.
Oh, it's like 0.21%.
In comparison, $100 million is crazy. But either way, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, it's hard to know because, as I've said, people say, so this is the thing that we didn't talk about as well. The way that you cheat in person is ridiculously complicated and it's quite hard to explain, but you can look it up. People say that either you can have from what I understand, again, I didn't read it fully, you can have something stuck on your leg, like inside your trouser leg effectively, which can indicate to you, I don't know if it's a shock, I don't know how it works, but there's something that can indicate what, as an example, right? Because obviously the board goes A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I'm making it up. But imagine if it shocked you 7 times, so you went F4, and it shocked you 7-4. A bit like Morse code.
It'd be quite, you'd have to, I've been electrocuted by one of them things before on a game show.
Yeah.
And they do hurt. So you'd really have to go,
Yeah.
I've got a bit of wind, trapped wind today. I think the only way to settle this, really, it should be outside of court, a rematch in person. And then if Hans wins, we know he didn't cheat. And they should do it naked, so there could be no electronic devices.
Hope, you actually, but I'm not even joking. You've said that. This is genuinely a thing that Hans has said. Hans has said to prove his innocence, he is willing to play naked. He's actually stated that to journalists. He said he's willing to play naked to prove it.
Told you I knew him, didn't I?
See, this maybe you played against him. Maybe.
I was the journalist he told.
So there you go. But yeah, all in all, people, that is story number 1. So quite interesting and worth keeping your eye on, because to be fair, it will either go one or two ways. Either that he will sue these people and that his reputation will be brought back to life, and actually people like Magnus and chess.com will then be shamed. Or if he is found to be guilty, if he is found of actually that he is kind of a serial cheater, then that'll be his career sort of done and dusted.
Lewis, story number 2 for the new series, please.
Hope, we are talking about a woman called Natalie White, who I was unfamiliar to, didn't know her name, but now is very, very interesting and is worth keeping an eye on, as she is taking on the big 3 in America. That's Nike, Adidas, and Under Armour on by flipping storm.
Question.
Yes.
What's the right way to say it? Nike or Nike?
Oh, Hope, this is a whole... Do you know what? Well, this is the thing. Americans say Nike. Right, so Americans say Nike, we say Nike. Now,
but they also say garbage, and we say bin. So that doesn't help me.
That's true. Do you remember we had that argument? We've had this argument before about how people say things in the UK, and it's that whole like grass, and whatever. But it's quite interesting. The difference is, right, in the UK they're quite minor, whereas you're right, in America it is it is different. And the other big thing I always find funny, like aluminium is aluminum. That word
aluminium
couldn't be said more differently. Aluminium, aluminum. But I mean, you would have thought they were two different things. It's
jelly and jam. It was also chips and crisps. When we see my my sister-in-law, she is from New Jersey, so she is obviously American born and bred. But the kids, obviously, she'll come round and be like, "Kids, do you want some chips?" And she's talking about crisps, but the kids are like, "What? That's not Auntie Lauren. That's not a crisp. No, that's not a chip."
You're like, sort it out, Auntie Lauren.
And then sometimes my brother slips into it, and he'll be like, "Oh, have I got any chips, Hope?" And I'm like, "Joe, you're English."
Yeah, chips. Got chips and gravy in the bag. Yeah,
they're called crisps. Anyway,
Brexit. In 2020. Now, this is quite interesting, Hope. And again, I find it interesting because, again, it's one of those things where I think being in the UK, I'm not surprised we haven't necessarily heard of it just yet, but it's certainly something I think we should keep an eye out on. So, in 2020, the Boston graduate, Natalie, launched a brand or a shoe company called Moolah Kicks, which I think is a flipping cool name. Moolah
Is that
Kicks.
Moola?
Yes, Moolah Kicks.
Do you know, on my baby name list?
Yeah.
Right, which isn't weird to have, by the way.
Don't say Moolah's on there.
Moolah and Moolie.
Moolie?
Moolie. M-U-L-I-E. Moolie.
Moolie. Right.
Although, I'll be honest with you, I looked at my name list the other day because I was like, I've got a name list to mum. And then I started reading them out and I was going, oh my goodness, was I on crack?
How many names have you got on there?
Because some of them are bad. I've got...
Like those two.
Pepper, Pip, Barnaby. There was one...
Barnaby.
Oh, Minamino.
Minamino
as a name for a boy. I think that's quite cool.
Obviously, we lived well a player called Takumi Minamino.
Yeah, I know. That's where I got it from.
That was the inspiration. It's his second name.
Yeah, I know, but it sounds cool, doesn't it? Minamino. But actually, I've grown up. And if I do ever have if I do have a little boy, if I have any sway, I would like to call it after my brother Joe.
No, you can't. That doesn't make sense, Hope.
What do you mean?
Well, it's like, again...
If it's between Minamino or Joe, what would you rather, Lewis? Quite frankly. You can't take everything away from me.
It's like I don't, and again, I'm not going to fault anyone, but it's certain people are called like... It's like when people go, my name's Joe Bloggs, and you've got Joe Bloggs Senior, Joe Bloggs Junior, and Joe Bloggs a third. So that's creative, isn't it?
Yeah, but they have a different surname than my brother.
Oh, but
and I'd call it Joey.
all right, let's say this, right? We've got family reunion at Christmas time. You all come around and everyone goes, Joe, and you've got two that go, yes, and one that goes, yes. So it'd be like, that's the thing. And then there's no, it's got to be like Joe, whatever, like Joey. There's got to be
That's what I said.
All right, so sorry, I missed that.
Anyway, everyone calls my brother Setch anyway. A lot of people do. His friends who don't come around at Christmas, but
I was to say, how often is your child and your brother going to be in the same room with his mates?
Well, to be fair, probably, if I have this is a hypothetical situation, right? But if I had a son, my brother,
this is gone.
It's way past hypothetical, isn't it?
This is like if my second removed cousin's third auntie's uncle's dog, monkey's dog
in the future
came in the same room as my.
My brother lives in America, right? So it wouldn't be like.
Yeah.
I'd have to get his permission, obviously, as well, wouldn't I? What if he wouldn't want me to?
That's your family decision. You might not. You might not have to. You might just do it. You might appreciate the fact that you've named him after him.
Well, my nephew's got his middle name. He's Charlie Joseph. And my sister rung my brother to tell him. So she went, yeah, his name's Charlie Joseph. My brother went, that's like my name. She was like, duh.
Nice one, Joe. Anyway, shout out to big Setchy boy. But yes, anyway, so these are actually quite revolutionary and we'll get on a roll with this because this is actually really cool. So Moolah Kicks is actually a women's basketball shoe company and they're actually specifically built for female biomechanics because very often in shoes, especially in basketball shoes, you'll find they're not unisex. They're not built for men's and women's feet. They're built specifically for men. And so actually, in less than 2 years, she has grown her business enormously. She's actually got backing from an American billionaire who's called Mark Cuban, for those that may know who he is. But it's quite interesting because she's actually gone from having a sales distribution. So in terms of across America, which is where they're being distributed currently, she went from having an all right looking website and it looked decent to being stocked in over 450 stores across the US with Dick's Sporting Goods. Now, people might know that's like a Sports Direct basically. So the Sports Direct of the US is now I believe roughly is kind of.
It's like how in America it's not TK Maxx, it's TJ Maxx.
Exactly, same thing. It'd be like that. Dick's Sporting Goods is something where they sell shoes and athletic gear and whatever. And yeah, I mean...
Can I just say, on the note of... I always do that. I'm like, can I just say, and then you keep talking, then I say, sorry, but I don't stop.
Yeah,
I'm like, sorry, Lewis, but I am going to talk now. It's not like...
It's David Brennan, isn't it? This is the thing. The problem as well people need to understand with being online is that because there will be like a half a second delay, it actually makes things quite complicated because it's not as easy as just going, oh, we'll just pause that because there is that moment of like...
To be fair, I feel like I would do this to you in person.
Yeah, you do it anyway.
No, you don't. I like being centre of attention. What can I say? That's why I chose this job. Anyway, a lot of things are actually built for men, not women. Like cars... Yeah. Genuine, every single car is based on a man's body. Pedals, everything.
Cars, yeah, that's the thing. And so, actually, Natalie's
this
taking
is a man's world, but it wouldn't be nothing without a woman or a girl.
I literally thought James Brown was in the room. It sounded just like him.
There you go.
Now that a classic song, shout out to James Brown, legend of the game. But yes, anyway, so. Natalie has landed a spot in something called March Madness. Now, it's a Microsoft deal, but March Madness is basically a basketball tournament that happens in March time, kind of given, with college students. So what Natalie's done, instead of attacking like the big name players, so companies like Adidas, Nike, Under Armour, they all have big name stars. And so the way that Natalie's gone about it is actually taking a grassroots approach. So often companies, Nike, Adidas, Under Armour again, Puma, whoever you want to name, big sporting brands, they often will, as I said, they will profile high-end stars, like big name players, be it from, obviously in this case it's basketball. So we're talking people like Steph Curry, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, whoever you want to name, they'll be involved. She's going for a slightly different tactic, which is very
Tristan
interesting. Thompson. Because of blooming thingy Jenner, what's her name? The Kardashian.
He cheated on her again, you know.
Really?
Yeah, right. How bad is this? Just a side note quickly. I don't actually follow the Kardashians, but sometimes I have like a little stalk. Basically,
you say this every time.
They were having a baby. Chloe and Tristan decided to have another baby, but they were going to do it by surrogate, right? So they made the embryo, put it in the lady, and then it came out that he already had a baby on the way with someone else, and he knew he had a baby on the way, and he still let her go ahead and do that. Isn't that mad?
That's terrible. Wow. So he's got two blimey.
Person are you?
Yeah, that's just bizarre. Anyway, people like things like that. I never.
So I don't
understand.
like him. I don't know what he's like at basketball, but I don't think he's very nice.
Well, no, get on that merit, he's probably not really, is he? So yeah, but yeah, Natalie was quoted by saying, "I think it's important we meet the market where we're at, rather than following a market model from a big brand with a big basketball sneaker," which I love. I think that is so great because she could have quite easily turned around, gone to someone like Jordan, Nike, whoever, and said, "Hey guys, I've got." Oh, by the way, we didn't say in there as well. I didn't quote. Now, obviously, Jordan's one of the biggest selling shoes, but in the article I read, she was taking on these three. I think the reason for that is, of course, Jordan is just a level above all those because obviously Michael Jordan.
I used to have some Air Jordans.
Did you? There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're classic.
One Christmas, I had a picture of me in a new onesie that I got, which was stripy, and my new Air Jordans. I looked cool.
Swaggy.
They became snow boots in the end. I was like, well, where do I wear these? I felt like an idiot. They were quite.
But this
massive.
thing, if you'd kept them, Hope, they actually would have been worth loads of money. That's the thing. If only you'd known back in the day in King's Lynn.
I don't know where they are. I think they're at my ex's sister's house, which is.
You should try and find them because obviously
they're pretty pristine.
Loads. There you go. See, you can make a bit of cash.
Maybe I should wear them. Maybe I should be cool.
You are cool. You don't need to. You are cool anyway.
Thanks.
It's all right. But yeah, so basically, she's also tied in, and again, we're doing sports and dummies terms because it's all. The thing about American basketball, Hope, is it's quite complicated, and the way it all works with sponsorship deals and all this stuff is difficult. Yeah, but here we go. So there is something in basketball which is called NIL. Now, this stands for name, image, and likeness. So what that basically means is you can basically show on your a bit like, okay, we'll do it a bit like we've done.
Well, no, just carry on how you were doing it because I feel like I'll get it. I'm listening carefully.
Yeah. So, like, you can basically customize your shoes how you want or your jersey and stuff. So, as an example, when we've spoken about F1 before, people have had stickers on their heads. Go on, you were going to say something.
Pogba and his boots. Or he didn't customize them, did he? The guy from that team who wears the headband. Amdaman?
No, you mean Newcastle, Alan St. Maximan. Like that, exactly like that. So in college basketball...
Shamdaman, I said.
So, I'm sorry. I think that actually went over my head because I got so confused. Now, for those that don't remember, right, Hope has a bit of an iconic thing that happened last series, and I can't remember exactly what the phrase was. I have to insert it here. But Hope said something that made me absolutely wet myself, and it was one that she literally just went. That was pretty much a follow-up from the previous statement.
Can you believe I genuinely get paid to talk? I can't.
No.
Quite frankly.
No. To be fair, we have off days, don't we? We have off days.
All right, so let's get back to this. NIL.
Yes. So yeah, name, image, and likeness. So college athletes previously, Hope, haven't been allowed to basically monetize themselves. They've had to have plain outfits, no customization of shoes. They can now do that. And so what this basically means now, and they can now do it through a variety of means. So what this basically means is they can now do like social media posts, they can write books, they can host camps where they're featured and they will earn money for being a college player. So effectively, what stars do now?
A bit like Tyler Parker, the footballer. American footballer, because he's at college, but he posts a lot of stuff.
There you go. Right. Okay. Similar to that, but I don't know if he gets paid. He probably will be paid. He'll definitely be paid.
He's a big boy.
So yeah, he's a big lad. Yeah, he's a big lad. So
big boy.
Basically, I'm a big boy. I'm a big boy.
I'm a big boy. I'm Tyler Parker. I'm a big boy.
But yeah, although sort of Under Armour and Adidas have basically had a foothold in it, she's wetting us up her own joke. That's hilarious. Under Armour and Adidas, Hope. Yeah, David Brent. Under Armour and Adidas have had a foothold in the game of basketball, and also they've also got on college stars. So they've got people like LeBron James's son is called Bronny James. They've already, I bet you don't approve of
that, do you?
I think Bronny's quite cool though, because it's not LeBron
Jr.
You're
so up LeBron's bum.
Sorry?
Why can't you support my decisions and you support his?
Oh, yeah, because me and LeBron are so close. I've got one moment. Sorry, LeBron, can you drop...
Yeah, you got a brown nose, you have.
What does that mean?
Up his bum.
Oh,
have you not heard that phrase before? That must be an old one.
No. Yeah, that's why.
When you're licking someone's bum, like...
No, we're not that old. She's not that old, really.
Outrageous.
outrageous. I was very ASMR. But anyway, she's finding, right, we need to stop arguing and we need to actually get someone off.
We do, because everyone's going to be like, everyone's going to switch us off because they're going to be like, these two are annoying. They're going to think I'm even more annoying because they actually want to hear the sports stories and I just keep whittering. So I'm going to shut my pie hole. Sorry, everybody.
So, don't apologise. I hope this is what Sports Dummies is all about here. We cover all the fun stuff in the world of sports.
Thank you for supporting me.
It's right. She's finding ways around the difficulties of. So as I said, Nike and Under Armour, Adidas, these companies, they are targeting the younger college players, but she's finding ways around that. And one of those ways, which is very, very exciting, is she's actually signing top college players that are girls to wear them wherever they can. So when they go out or when they do meetups or whatever, she's basically doing that, which is great. And it's really exciting. And her dream in an interview that she said, she basically wants Moolah Kicks to be the equivalent of Speedos. You know, Speedos, the goggles and stuff that people wear. Right. That's what she wants for the game of women's basketball.
And banana hammocks.
And what?
Banana hammocks.
Oh, do they do that? I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what a Speedo, like the Speedo pants for swimming?
Yeah.
Like the little knickers?
Yeah. Oh, but they're called budgie. They're called, we'd call them budgie.
Yeah, but apparently they're called banana hammocks because there's an episode of Friends where Phoebe changes her name to Phalange Banana Ham, Princess Consuela Banana Hammock. And her husband goes, you do know that's a brand of Speedo.
Oh, Hope, I did not. This is a fun fact from Hope.
It's quite a fun name, actually, isn't it? For the actual, quite graphic name, actually.
It's quite graphic, but there you go. So obviously we wish Natalie all the best in her venture into the world of the sporting world of shoes. But clearly she's taken it by storm anyway, so she doesn't need any of our.
So just to clarify the story, with all the discussion, she's not taking them on as in she's suing them for anything. She's just taking them on as in she's a new brand, up and coming, wants to take over.
Yeah. Like taking them on as in head to head, like she is going to compete with them in a very different way. There's a great documentary you can watch on Netflix, and it's about a shoe company called And One. It's worth watching if you can find it.
Sounds really exciting about shoes.
No, genuinely, because the reason why they call it And One, I hope, before you make some silly comment, is that in basketball you get an And One when you get fouled. So you score and you get an And One. Anyway, they took on the world of basketball back in the 2000s. So they like in the noughties, they were this basketball shoe company, a bit like this, grassroots basketball. And they quite literally took off. And again, I won't spoil the documentary, but you see a rise and fall of a company and how it looked so promising for them, how they were making sales that were beating all of their other targets, and how sadly things change. But either way, clearly Natalie is not going down that same route.
Let's hope she does well. I think she's going to do well.
And the fact that she's already got deals with college basketballers that obviously, of course, are women and that are key influences in their spheres is great.
And she's already been shouted out on the Sports Dummies podcast. I mean, that is a big achievement.
There you go. She's absolutely smashing it. But
one day we should maybe do an awards. We should maybe make our own awards.
Who's coming to that?
People will come.
All right. Okay. Look, sorry. I take it back.
Your mum's friend Beverly will come.
So, what an audience of one. But look, that's more than none. That's the important thing.
Yeah, I don't like your pessimism at the start of when you say something, then you have to check yourself. Anyway.
I thought you were going to make a joke before you wreck yourself. I was waiting for that one.
No, I'm not that sad. Rolling on to story number 3.
Now, I hope we're going to wrap it up with a very sweet story of the week. A story to cap things off in style. And it's quite a short little story, but again, I thought it'd be nice to share it for everyone because again, this is something that was definitely missed in the media. So Flamengo, the football team in Brazil, Flamengo captain who's called Diego Ribas. The club recently celebrated winning a trophy which is called the Copa do Brasil, which is basically like a trophy like in England, like the FA Cup or one of those. Now, he actually won the trophy as captain, but didn't just celebrate with his teammates or with the coaches or whoever. He actually celebrated with a group of sorry, I laugh because I got my words. I'm going to do it again. He actually celebrated, Hope, with a group of street sweepers who came and celebrated inside their stadium, which is amazing. So he had the trophy at the end. There's a video you can watch on the internet, and he has the video, and he runs over to them.
You mean he has the trophy, not the video? You can't hold the video.
Oh, sorry.
Gosh, losing the plot you are.
I am, yeah. He takes a trophy, and he runs over to them, sits down, and they get a
You said
really
it again.
great photo.
You said video again.
You're joking.
No, I'm not.
I'll do it again. Sorry. He took the trophy.
I was joking. You didn't.
That is not funny.
How juvenile of me.
Yeah. I'm supposed to be the young one. Yeah. Whatever. Anyway, so yeah, a very sweet video. But just it was really nice because they beat Corinthians, who are sort of close rivals, in a penalty shootout, and then they all posed for a photo on the pitch with a trophy. Now, it could actually be his last game for the Brazilian side. Looks like he could potentially leave on a free transfer. But either way, I thought just a really sweet thing to round it off. So, Hope, I was going to ask you before we finish this episode, what's the sweetest thing you've seen with someone that's won something that's been celebrating someone else, or in a different capacity, what's the nicest gesture you've ever seen someone give somebody else?
That's a hard question.
Big question, isn't it? Big question.
I've got two things on my mind that aren't the answer.
Go on. Shoot anyway.
One, I welled up in the car earlier because I listened to that song, Pina Colada. If you like pina colada. If you actually listen to the lyrics of that song, it's so sweet.
Really? Yeah.
It tells a really sweet story. I recommend you do that. I welled up and I was like talking to myself in the car going, oh, how lovely. And then the second thing I wanted to say was, how did the street sweepers get in? Did they have their brushes with them? And thirdly, sweetest thing I've ever witnessed.
It's hard, isn't it? It's really difficult.
Yeah. I don't think I can remember anything. Am I just forgetful? I don't know.
Those moments, though, Hope, I feel like you cherish for a minute. And then the thing is, because the world's so fast, you just move on. As Maracana says in his new album, Hugo, is the world moving fast for you as well? Because it moves fast for everybody. And that's the thing, those things. One thing I remember...
Has he? I like him.
Yeah, worth listening to. Legendary albums called Hugo. Very, very good. Lyrically amazing. Very deep. Again, won't spoil it for people.
Well, let's
worth listening to.
Let's throw this question to the audience instead then. If they can remember something happening, it doesn't have to be in sport, to be honest. It can be anything that's made you feel warm and fuzzy inside. Maybe you've done something. I can talk about a story where it was a really sweet moment, but it involves me.
Yeah, I say no. I feel like I've got the same, but I don't. I want it. I want it to be the only thing that I can think of in my head that I had two moments. There was a man. I can't remember what had happened. I was on the train in Paris, and I was on my own. This was when I was out in the French Open, and an old man had like bought a rose for his wife or something and then given it to her and like surprised her with it. And it was just one of those like sweet moments where no one had captured it, but really special. That I remember. There's not, one thing I always remember is like being out, say, on a train or wherever, and you see really sweet couples like laughing away and stuff, like those sort of things. I can also think of, I'm trying to think of anything else. Again, things that happen to me.
There's a sweet one that you've told me about. That was like a joyous moment in sport. Remember when you said about that guy when you were all on the train and the train was delayed and there was a massive football game on and the guy let everyone watch his phone?
Oh yeah, yes, cool, yes. When oh goodness, that was a couple months ago. Who was playing? Oh, I can't remember. Was it Liverpool? No, I can't remember. Anyway, there was a bloke that had the game on. I took a photo. I've got a photo on my Instagram, I'm sure. And he had it on his phone and he gathered everyone around. That was a really nice moment. What other things have I ever seen that was really nice? I feel like there are moments where I
was looking at my mum earlier. My mum had a friend round earlier. Shout out to Richard, and they were just sitting chatting about making pear wine, and she was showing him some dried fig leaves that she'd done, and I was watching them, and I was welling up, and I just went, "You two are so cute," because they were just spitting in a cute little conversation, and Mum was all, and I was just like, "Oh, bless." Oh, I just well up all the time. Oh, I welled up the other day because I looked after my goddaughter. And she was playing with my dad, and my dad was like proper engaging with her, and I was like tearing up. And I was like, "What's wrong with me? Why am I tearing up?" So I like downplayed it because I was like, "This is embarrassing." But it was like nice to see someone that I love from not in my house then bond with someone who I also love in my house. It was really nice. Do you know what I mean? Anyway.
I feel like lots of those moments, I think, again, we remember and then we don't. I've seen quite a few. And I think, again, if I racked my brains, I probably would think of a few. But often on videos, you see things where, like, you see like someone surprise somebody else, or like, a husband will come back to a wife or something, or it will be that, like a son hasn't seen a dad in
I do think that
years, been in the army,
seeing those things in real life affect me more, I think, than seeing a video. I think I'm just numb to videos.
I'm trying to think about any other, just to wrap it off, are there any other things?
I've got a moment where I was the most proud of someone I've ever been.
Go on. I've got one, but you go on.
Yeah.
You go.
So it was when I was at sixth form. I used to have a job called midday supervisor, and I used to look after this little girl called Lily, and she was in year 7. She had Down syndrome, and I was like, during that lunch hour, I was kind of her carer almost to guide her through and navigate things. And she decided that she wanted to do the talent show, and she wanted to sing Frozen Let It Go, right?
Yeah.
She wasn't the best singer, I'll be honest, but she really, really wanted to do it. So we signed up and they said she can do it, but would you be okay to do it with her, to support her and like come to these sessions and practice? So I was like, okay. So we were practicing a little bit and there was another girl singing with us. And then the day came and it was in the evening at the school on a stage and everything, because it was a performing arts school I went to.
Yeah.
Not that I'd done performing arts. I just drunk cider in the woods, but anyway. So we were on this, the talent show was happening, the stage was set, crowd was there. Yeah. And we went out and the spotlights were on us and we started singing Let It Go. And she looked back at me with the proudest little smile on her face. Aww. And it makes me well up now because it was just like, she was just so happy and I felt so proud of her and just like, go on, Lily, you do it.
Yeah, little Lily. Well, that's very sweet.
So
very sweet.
That was very sweet, that moment. I loved it. That was a good job. I like that job. Anyway.
That was, people, we can wrap it up there. Hope, do you want to close for us?
Yeah, go on
that
then.
Nice, sweet story. Go on,
So
Hope.
thank you very much for joining us for the first episode of Series 5 of the Sports for Dummies podcast. We cannot wait to be on this journey with you for the next 10 episodes. Some new things happening, some new special guests, and as always, we want to hear from you. So get in touch, sportsfordummiespodcast@gmail.com, or contact us on the socials. Just search Sports for Dummies or Dummies Sports and you'll find us. And also, side note, we still have that collection pot.
Way, collection pot.
I don't even remember how to sign into it. No, I do. So it's actually coming up. December, we said we'd open it.
Yeah, we would.
Date.
Please,
so
people.
We've got like a date on it that we'll open up the pot and then we'll invest that money back into the podcast, whether that's getting like customized microphone muffs or paying for us to go to a football game or something like that to create better content for you. So it is in your favour. It's not going in our pockets. So if you'd like to donate, you can find the collection. Donate, it sounds bad, doesn't it? If you want to pay.
Give. You want to give.
You want to gift us some money to say thank you for the content, the link is everywhere.
Yeah. And we'll make that very clear, people, to make it clear, we're not taking home a profit from this. We won't be like going, we're going to football and just back pocket it. No, this will literally be, you will physically see us do something with this money. And as Hope said, every donation means, or every giving means the world to us.
Yeah,
so
literally 50, 25p, 50p, anything.
We'll take it all. And whatever we do end up with, we can then work out from there what we're going to do, whether it is going to be like a National League football game or whether it's going to be we're buying something awesome. We'll have to wait and see. But people, thank you so much as always for listening. We'll catch you next week for episode 2. And as we always say, keep your eyes on the prize for big names inbound.
That needs to be our official logo.
It should.
Slogan.
Yeah.